I rise today during National Police Week to recognize the local law enforcement officers of Southwest Washington who work around the clock to protect our community. During my time in Congress, I've made it a priority to do ride-alongs and roundtables with local law enforcement and other first responders across the district to see firsthand their work and dedication. These men and women don't have the luxury to view the fentanyl crisis in academic or sanitized terms. They see it in its most brutal human scale. I've also had the opportunity to see how we are training and supporting the next generations of officers. In August of last year, I toured the new law enforcement training center located in Clark County in my district. One of the first questions I asked the room was how many of them had children under the age of 5, and about half the room raised their hand. This makes sense, right? Because they're at the beginning of their careers. Before this new regional training center opened, these recruits would have to travel across the state away from their families for 5 months to complete the basic law enforcement training academy course. Now they can train closer to home, which is a game changer for recruits with new families. The work done by law enforcement is exhausting, dangerous, yet absolutely critical. I am committed to ensuring Congress does its part to support our law enforcement partners. But it can't stop with Congress. Law enforcement officers and their families make huge sacrifices to serve our communities and often feel like their work isn't respected or is intentionally vilified by some. You cannot substitute respect with another federal grant or program or initiative. We need a cultural shift that values and respects the sacrifices these officers and their families make. Thank you sincerely to all of our law enforcement officers, their spouses, their families, their communities that support them in this incredibly patriotic, challenging calling. I assure you that your work does not go unappreciated. I rise today during National Police Week to recognize corrections officers who have one of the most difficult and stressful roles in our law enforcement. I made it a priority to tour jails in my district, and the corrections officers I've met are patriotic professionals who perform an unseen and often thankless job under incredibly stressful circumstances. When I ask these COs what their priorities are, how I can be useful, the first 5 times I ask the question, they keep telling me what their detainees need, what would make life better for their detainees. Every day, corrections officers see firsthand the starkest crises of our society. They deal with the most violent offenders, our most difficult mental health challenges, inmates who have been caught up in the national fentanyl crisis, and people who have generally fallen through the cracks of society. Every day, they do the hard and necessary work that makes our judicial system function and receive little to no respect or gratitude from society. And it should not surprise anyone, given all of this, that they have a suicide rate 7 times higher than the general population and an average life expectancy of only 59 years. This is an indictment against our country.